When you face a strong opponent in chess, everything you can do is hope that you're gonna play a great game. And maybe if all the stars are aligned, you can get away with a win. That's how I felt when I was about to play FIDE master Dennis Arman, who's almost had 2400 in classical chess and who is a speed demon. He plays fast and he plays very good. Everything I was hoping for was that it would not become a masterclass from him, that I would somehow trick him and things would go my way. And this laugh, my friends, is me being very nervous before the game. So we were chit-chatting a little bit, but then it was time to get serious. And after a while, we shook hands and he started the clock. And the reason he was smiling is, and I was smiling, is because we've known each other for quite a while and I have a lot of respect for him. So this became my favorite opening to play against in the whole universe of the world, which is the Benko Gambit. Now, he played this move b5, we have the Benko here, and I absolutely love playing against the Benko. It is fun, it is adventurous, and it is everything I love for there to be in chess. So he played this move e6, and the idea there is to try to break up my center. So I went knight c3, I brought my knight out. I wasn't sure if I'm supposed to take or go knight c3, but I decided to play it this way, with my idea being that I was gonna go e4 after and get the most beautiful center of all time. So he was thinking a bit and he decided to take it, and I had to take back as well. So I simply took back and he went bishop b7, threatening now my knight. I had to now find a square for my knight to go to. So I decided that I probably wanted to move back it, but then I saw this move e4 and then it got me really excited because I thought, what if I defend it? And if he takes, well, then at some point I could potentially go queen e2 or something. It just felt like I could then move first my bishop and then get my queen out. This just felt like a really cool move. I hadn't really seen it before, but then I saw now that this is actually theory. Like, this is definitely a way you can play. So I was cooking right now. I was in my zone and I was finding some great moves and I was so excited. And I decided now to bring out my bishop, and he was nodding, which made me very happy. Felt like I was getting approval, which I shouldn't really care what my opponent is doing. But chess is a psychological game. It's easy for you to look at your opponent's actions and see what they're saying. So I was now defending my knight and I was fully on giving up this pawn on e4. My idea was now that if he doesn't take it, I'll be able to potentially move up one square with my pawn and have a great pawn. But then I thought that if he takes it, I'll finish my development very quickly and it felt like it would be good as well. So I could potentially even bring up my queen if he took my pawn to g4. So I really like this, and I definitely made him think right now for quite a bit. I had way more time than him at this point. He had 1:30 and I had over 2 minutes. It felt like the opening had gone just as good as it could go, and I was feeling very confident. So someone moved my camera now, apparently. But he castled and I pushed up my pawn, and this was apparently a mistake. I thought this was a good move, but this was apparently a mistake. So my idea was that I was threatening his knight and I didn't really know exactly where his knight was going to go. But the problem was that I was maybe not looking at this from the right tactical point of view, because what I didn't see was that he potentially could maybe take my knight and then bring out his queen. But here he spent some time calculating and he ended up doing exactly that. And now he brought out his queen with check, and the issue now is that my pawn is hanging. So now I either have to move my king, which would be a disaster because then he takes the pawn with check, or I have to move my bishop, but now he can take that pawn on b5 and still defend his own bishop. So here, I was really trying to find something tactical, but I made a huge blunder, which was a4, and this is a blunder because what I didn't realize is that after he takes the pawn on b2, I cannot go rook b1 because he can take my pawn on e5 with check, and I just had completely just didn't see it. So my plan was, of course, that when he takes this pawn, I can go rook b1 and I'm winning a piece, I thought, but yeah, it wasn't as smart as I thought because he can take that pawn. So I had to change plans, but now I realized that I'd lost that pawn and I was very sad about it. But it was time to get my pieces out. But now he was playing perfect chess. He was bringing in his queen, checking my king, being as annoying as a chess opponent can possibly be. And I just didn't know what to do. I thought I had to cover up with my bishop. He moved his queen and checked me. I went back with my knight. I was trying to find a fortress, but everything I wanted was to castle and then get a rook to c1 and then play against that pawn. But he kept making moves that wouldn't allow me to castle, and I thought, am I gonna lose another pawn? It seems like it. He's just finding all these ways to winning all my pawns. I felt like I was getting just completely outplayed. And I felt like he was giving me a chess masterclass. And that's not a great feeling when you're playing chess. I also want to say that I love the sunglasses of the guy sitting next to me with the blue shirt. He had the coolest sunglasses. I did think a little bit about that during the game when I realized that my game was slowly but surely falling apart. But I was not going to give up. I was going to bring up my knight. I was going to bring all my pieces into action. And here he went back with his queen. I had to find a good square for my knight. I decided to go to b5. I was not going to make this game easy. I was going to fight till the very end. So I brought my knight to b5. I was threatening now knight c7. I was going to be tricky. He went rook c8 and I went bishop f4. Now my idea was once again to go knight c7. I was able here to potentially go knight c7, but I was spending some time thinking. He only had 15 seconds left though. I had 45. But time was gonna pass quickly because going knight c7 was quite a scary move to do. Because what if my bishop somehow cannot defend that knight at the end? But I thought that I have to go for that move. He retreated to d7 and I now wanted to go all in. I thought I have nothing to lose. I have to go all in. I have to play fearlessly. I have to bring all my pieces to the attack. So I brought my rook to the attack as well. I was going to bring everything I had. He moved his bishop and I needed to find how to continue. So I brought my queen as well to keep everything defended. He started attacking my king and I only had some seconds left on the clock. I had 10 seconds left right now. I had to bring back my bishop perhaps. Where was I gonna go? But then my pawn on a4 would be lost. But he didn't care about that pawn. So I now went rook e1. I had to stop that check. I moved my pawn to threaten his queen. The queen moved. I now took his pawn on a7. And even if he had a lot of activity here, I was still fighting. He found this beautiful move, knight f3 check. And I was now in exchange down as well. But like I said, I wasn't going to give up. I was going to have a fantastic knight and a fantastic pawn. So we were both playing super fast. And I threatened his rook. The rook went up. I was trying to find any sort of activity. I moved my pawn up. I had a dream, but now he had a dream too. I had to bring my king up and he threatened my queen and then he checked me and I had to take it and then I had to go g3. And now after takes and queen takes, he traded queens. I took with the king. I still had a dream of that a pawn. I was pushing. People were watching our game. I really wanted to find some way of saving this. I was going for the tricks. He almost blundered the rook. I attacked it anyways. And here I decided to go for the check. And he took my exchange, but he was still 2 pawns up, unfortunately. And unless I was able to win 1 pawn, I knew that this was lost. So I ended up losing that h3 pawn, but he didn't take it, so he just went rook c3. So I pushed up my pawn and he brought his king up, and I was trying to win at least one pawn, but the problem is that I can never take that pawn because then I cannot stop his other pawn from promoting. So now he was marching with the 2 pawns. I really wanted to somehow find a way, but here he went, well, here I resigned. Because I was just gonna lose. There was no way for me to stop the promotion of that pawn, and it felt like it was useless to continue such a lost position. But he was complimenting my play, and he's a very humble guy, Dennis. He's a great guy. So yeah, he's also a chess streamer, commentator. I think he's done a bit of coaching as well, I'm not sure, but yeah, he's a great guy, and he was being very humble after the game. So I felt like I got a masterclass though, but thank you so much for watching this game. I lost this round, but there were still many rounds to go. Hope you enjoyed this and hope you learned something, and good luck with your chess.